Let's start at the top. As far as C.J. West and Alfred Collins, how do you see those two guys working together?
Yeah, just adding another guy to the mix in CJ. You know, we had some departures this offseason, and we felt it was important to restock, and not just with guys. We wanted to put guys that fit our vision for what we want that room to be, and we've talked about Alfred. CJ is the same way. CJ, I think, you know, if we're talking about him, extremely stout, sturdy, but also has the quickness and strength to play in the other team's backfield. Makes a lot of splash plays in the other team's backfield. I had the chance to watch him live this year when we went back to Ohio State. Indiana was there, and made an impression in that game, but more so his film, his body of work has really stood out, and we just felt like was a really good fit, another add to the D-line we're building.
Always was fond of DJ Jones.
Yeah.
Was there any comparisons from him between West and Jones?
He actually said that in his report when, you know, in our draft meetings. I was just looking at my notes again, and Chris said, you know, DJ Jones comp, and so I think there are a lot of similarities, and that's a good thing for us.
While you were back there, you also saw Rourke play.
Yes, saw Rourke, and you know, he's a you know, Kyle can talk about Rourke more, but you know, a guy that we really liked, and you know, I think really displayed his toughness. Played a lot of the year on a partially torn ACL. You know, it was a previous ACL that was done in 22, and you know, kind of a re-tear, but you know, toughed it out and played through it. Had surgery after the season, so you know, we took him with the understanding that he's not going to likely be cleared until training camp, and you know, but we just felt like there was a lot of talent, a lot of ability. The guy plays the game the right way, and you can't have enough good quarterbacks, and wanted to add him to the mix, and we're able to do it in the 7th round, and excited to do so.
What do you see from him? Why is he a good fit for your system?
Loved his size, love how he throws, loved how he plays the position. Just especially watching him this year, I don't think it was a coincidence how good of a year they had with the type of quarterback they had, and he did it the whole year with he had broken finger, a torn ACL, and still was really, really impressive. And we're in a situation where, you know, getting a guy with a torn ACL, and he probably won't be cleared by training camp. It'll be close, but you know, it's not an issue for us right now because, I mean, obviously with Brock and Mac, and love Tanner too. So I thought it was just a very good, valuable pick for us for a guy who might not be ready for another year. Because I think he's about 7 months out because he got it done after the season. But we're in a situation we could take him, and I think he would have gone a lot higher if he was healthy.
What did you see from Jordan Watkins? He already was told that it's going to be tough for him to get on the field. He's going to have a lot of work to do. But what did you see from him?
Love his speed. Where first thing you notice when you see a guy for the first time, you look at his 40 time, then you watch his routes at the combine. I thought he was one of the better route runners at the combine, just with natural receiver skills and everything. You watch his hands. He was our best graded out guy going through the gauntlet and stuff with just true natural hands. You watch his one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl, and then to how he played at Ole Miss, talking to Lane, the whole package. We love the guy. I think he's got a great skill set, and need to add him to the group.
Mentality and the fact that he understands that he's going to have to work to earn his starting position.
Yeah, hopefully everyone's like that. Everyone's going to have to work to make our team, first of all, and you know, we're down numbers with losing Debo, and you know, with BA might not be ready right away. We'll see how that goes. But you know, we wanted to add a receiver in this draft. We didn't know where it would be, and glad we got him.
You guys obviously had a lot of things to do, but did you want to add offensive line earlier, or did you know that was have to take a back seat with some of the other things that you need to do first?
Yeah, we were able to do that in the 7th round with Connor Colby, but yeah, there were a number of times that we were interested in adding, and it just didn't come our way. And you know, you gotta stay true to, you know, where you have guys graded, not take guys just to take them, but to take guys that you're interested at that point. And it just never really aligned. And so, you know, we were happy to add Colby. We think he's a really good scheme fit. Great thing about Iowa is they run a very similar, they run a lot of outside zones, so you get to see a guy like him do things that we do, and he does them well. So we're happy to add that. But there were a number of times, Kyle and I were talking about that at the end. That just didn't align, one of those deals, and you don't want to force things. And so it wasn't our time for that, other than Connor, and we'll move forward.
The possibility of testing him outside or sticking inside?
Yeah, he's a guard. He's a guard, yeah.
Jordan James and just his ability to get in the end zone repeatedly.
Yeah, we're fired up on Jordan. Jordan's, this was a really strong running back class. There was a lot of depth to it. I think the fact that Jordan James was there when we took him in the 5th, I think there was a feeling amongst teams, it was such a deep class, we can wait. And, you know, there was a group of guys, and you know, we had him a certain grade, and we were pleased that he was still there. And powerful back, you know, runs through tackles, you know, has not necessarily tremendous top end speed, but he's got dart and burst, and you know, we think there's some things that will come alive in the way we play that fit our system. You know, I think one thing going up to the pro day, Gabriel, the quarterback, was thrown, and he was one of the guys catching a lot of the routes. Very, you know, it showed me he's very natural hands, and you know, so I think a lot that Jordan James brings to the table. Very physical runner, like leaves defenders hurting, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, you know, after we picked, Jed asked, Frank was in there. He said, "What do you think?" And Frank liked him. You know, so that's awesome.
You obviously track comp picks and that whole formula. I know it can sometimes not go your way, but that's something you guys track pretty diligently. You know, when that window, I think it's in the next few days, closes and it's not factored in, would you expect to maybe add somebody who would have factored into that formula?
In the next, after the draft, they don't affect it, so we'll see. You know, we're always looking to improve our team. I think it's a good point for players that are free agents to assess. Okay, here's a team that, you know, look at what they did in drafts, and then also for teams to look back and say, okay, we took our full complement of 11 players. Where do we still have a need to or a want to get a little better or to change your roster up a little? So we'll see here in the next week, and gonna go have a nice draft party right now. Enjoy a good weekend, and you know, it's just the culmination of a lot of hard work, and proud of our group. I know we got better this weekend.
Barrow's confirmed he's not a swing tackle. What is the plan at swing tackle?
We don't tell you all our plans, so we'll see.
Okay, how about this? I mean, seems like Austin Pleasance or Spencer Burford, are those your top 2 options on the current roster?
Yeah, I would say so. And we haven't even gotten out with our players yet, but we had those guys at the end of last year, and they're both tackles. I mean, Spencer's been a guard for us, but he could play swing tackle and started a lot of games for us at guard, but definitely has the ability to play tackle. We got Austin at the end of last year, who closed out the season when we had some injuries. I believe it was 2 games at tackle. Did a decent job, and there's usually other options too as the season goes, or all the way up in the season. There's options usually after cuts at the end of training camp. So we'll see what our open day roster is, but we've got a lot of competition for there, and but it's definitely not solidified yet.
This is for either one of you. You know, the national story was Shedeur Sanders and how he fell. Did it ever become a conversation in the draft room about what if he is there and continues to be there later?
You know, we're up there for. This was a long weekend. It felt, maybe it's 11 picks. It felt like this was long, and I don't know if you guys felt like that. So there's a lot of time, and we're all doing our work, but then you're sitting up there, and this was a story that kind of was prevalent, and, you know, I think more than anything, just empathy. That's tough for a young man. But I know that he's a competitor. I know that, you know, he's got his opportunity now, and I think we tell people all the time, it's not when you go, it's not where you go, it's what you do with that opportunity. He's got that opportunity in Cleveland, and I'm excited for him. I remember seeing him down at Jackson State his true freshman year, and you know, really enjoying getting to know the kid, and a lot of things said about him, but now he gets to go prove that he's worthy of that pick by the Browns, and we wish him nothing but the best.
What do you like about
safety you took in round 5.
Siegel, he's awesome. You know, we love guys who can. First of all, he's a bow-legged safety, and like I told him, you can't go wrong with the bow-legged safety. He's played nickel. He's a guy who can really run. You know, I never knew watching him on the field. I knew he was fast. I didn't see 4.32. And this guy, that is a blazing time. Got a lot of versatility to his game. He's a good tackler. He eats up. We talk a lot. A term we use is taking the grass, and this is a guy who takes the grass. He takes the fight to the ball carrier, to the receiver, and I think he's going to be a really good fit for us.
His punt return numbers are pretty spectacular. What stood out of him in that aspect of his game?
Well, really, our special teams guys, they both have some Montana roots, and I think this guy's kind of become this sensation. You know, they kept talking about Brant and Colt Anderson kept talking about this kid from Montana and really selling him to us, and they did a really good job. And ultimately, at the end, it's like, okay, are we going to have a chance at free agency if we don't draft him? Is someone else going to draft him right at the end? And so ultimately, you know, I do think and believe that, you know, there's added value in returners with the adjustment to the kickoff, you know, and the touchbacks coming all the way out to the 35. Probably people are going to be less inclined to just kicking it through the end zone. More return opportunities. So to have a dynamic returner is probably a good thing, and he'll go in there and compete. And he's done it really well at the small, you know, at the smaller college level, and now he's going to get an opportunity to do it with us.
You said after day 2 that you felt you could really take a deep breath, and for the first time since free agency, you could actually get into that mode. On the other end of this long weekend, where's your feeling at with the acquisitions you guys made, all the needs you addressed throughout the process?
I mean, it feels real good. I mean, I said that because just the number of people that we lost. You know, we hadn't lost that big of a group in terms of numbers, so we knew we had to add a lot of people. And fortunately, we had 11 draft picks, and it's very rare you use all 11 draft picks, but we needed to because we needed that many numbers. And to actually find 11 guys that we believe all have a chance to make the team, all have big roles. I mean, they got to come in and compete and obviously earn it, but it was a very important draft. We haven't really been in a situation like this, and that's why it was a little bit more nerve-wracking because we were counting on getting a lot of guys instead of just coming in there trying to add depth and stuff and look for 2 to 3 really. Each one felt just as important as the next one.
Last time you guys started the draft with 5 defensive players was 81. That included Barney Lott, Aaron Bryant, Carlton Williamson. Does that sound like good vibes? This will also be one of the best drafts in the
Only
franchise.
dream. I mean, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. You know, we hear about that often. I used to hear about that at Stanford with Coach Walsh. Used to talk about that a lot. And that draft was obviously very good to this organization then, and we can only pray that this one is as good. And I just love these players. And like I said, I know we got better. These guys are going to have opportunity, and you know, it's a really exciting time.
Do you plan to sign 6 undrafted guys? Is that the number you're targeting?
Give or take, you know, so we'll see. I always get nervous when I'm down here when those guys are up there because you never know what's going on, but they're working hard, try to complete. And we've got so many success stories over the years of free agents, and so it's really important that we continue right through the end of this thing, and the guys are up there right now doing that.
Sounds like you got another running back.
Really? Yeah. Good. Yeah, I knew that, but.
Do we get anyone else?
The 2 receivers, Watkins and Berger, are they slot guys or do they have versatility to play outside as well?
Watkins plays outside and inside, and Junior, you know, we took him as a returner, so we'll throw him in with the receivers and see how that goes. But we brought him here to be a returner and try to make the team that way.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys.